where to start?
Well, we're a mid-size ski area. Our dad, Ralph, built it in the 60s. He owned and operated it for 30 years, and then it went through a number of other owners for the past 20 years, and then just a few years ago, we joined together with our dad as kind of the next generation, and we bought back the ski area with some local investor partners. So now, really what Bolton Valley is something that is kind of the fun of what we're doing, is figuring out what the next sort of what the next evolution is for the ski area that we grew up at. We got together with our year-round staff, sort of what we call our core team, a couple years ago, as we were really starting to get back into it up here. And we spent some time developing our core principles that you just mentioned. And the three core principles for us are family, accessibility, and sustainability. Sustainability is the one that we're talking about today. And, when we used that word, we really thought about it in two parts. We're a small family-owned ski area. And so sustainability for us both means kind of like surviving as a business. And it also acknowledges that a ski resort is an energy hog, and there's a paradox there. On the one hand, I think part of the appeal of skiing, certainly for me, but I imagine for most people, is the joy of being outside and being in the woods and, being in nature and making that connection and standing at the top of the mountain and looking at the view and just, feeling inspired and connected to the earth and to nature. But the paradox is that, to spin the chairlifts, to groom the trails, to here on the East Coast, make the snow, we consume a lot of energy. And so it's incumbent upon us as lovers of the outdoors, who therefore, want to protect the outdoors, to protect, our own recreational pursuits, but also generally, the environment. It's incumbent upon us as ski area owners to really think about our carbon footprint and to try to do what we can to offset it. So, with that in mind, we inherited the wind turbine. That was something that was put up in the sort of interim 20 years between when our dad ran it and, with us coming back. But we really embraced it. We really loved it. And we use that energy. Looking ahead, we have plans this summer. We're working with a solar developer to install 150 kilowatt solar array as well. So between those, our renewable energy portfolio will be about 250 kilowatts of energy, which frankly is not the amount of energy we use. We probably use 4 times that just here at Little Bolton Valley. Our goal at Bolton Valley is to get to 500 kilowatts. The reason why we want to get to 500 kilowatts is because that's the maximum allowed in Vermont. It's interesting that you're actually limited in the amount of renewable energy that you can use as an individual business here in Vermont. And in Vermont, that's 500. So, even if when we achieve that goal, we'll still only be covering about half of our electric use.
I think it's also worth noting that, in our economy, so much of what makes a business successful is its growth model and its rate of growth. And, when we were initially discussing getting involved again at Bolton Valley, my initial response was, forget it. We don't have enough money. We need to increase the size of this place. We need tons of resources. We need to add more stuff. We need better lifts, faster lifts, more equipment. And so I was, talked down from that. And it's worth noting that I've kind of come around, because we've started this much more organic growth model that's based on demand, that's based on our resource capacity and availability. And, we maintain this mid-range, this mid-size ski resort that is growing at a pace that's not forced.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, one of the phrases that I keep using and have used as we've, raised money to make the improvements we are making is the importance of right sizing our investment, not getting out ahead of us. There's a lot of competition in our area with a lot bigger ski areas. So as a business, it's really important for us that we know who we are and where we fit in that grand scheme of things, and that, everything that we do is sort of, not going to take us out of our lane uh, and make us unsuccessful sort of in that broader landscape. We have a niche that we fill, and we want to do our best to continue to fill that niche and to maximize it there. As we do grow, a lot of the investments that we're making right now, some limited growth, but a lot of it is just reinvesting in the existing infrastructure, updating it. And a part of that updating is making it more energy efficient. So like, for example, getting off of diesel with our snowmaking and getting onto electric, that's great. And then also, that's with the compressors, and then looking at our guns and, buying more high efficiency guns that use less energy. Like I said, in Vermont, we're constrained with how much renewable energy we can build as a business to offset our energy use. So, we can't just build solar to cover all of our electric use. We also have to try to reduce our electric use where we can. So it's a tricky balance to try to get there. I mean, one cool idea that I don't know if it will ever come to fruition, our brother Rob came up with it, and I've been trying to pursue it for the last couple of years. I thought we almost had a deal with the farmer to make it happen last year. Then COVID hit, and honestly, I never heard from her again. But we'd really like to mow our trails with goats. Just like any kind of out of the box thinking. And I mean, they do that in the Alps, and they do that kind of thing in Europe. And so I think, we can try to look at the practices of some other areas, and not just other parts of the US, but other cultures around the world, to see, what they might be doing. But yeah, I mean, the LED lights are another great example. And that's something that we're also, that we also did in the field house of the sports center. We converted to LED. We converted all of our night skiing lights to LED. Actually, we're looking at this summer going into all of our common areas around the base lodge and hotels and hallways, and getting all of our lights on motion sensors so that they're not just on 24 hours a day. So, I mean, there's a lot of sort of these, what I would just sort of say, smaller efficiency improvements that we can do. Even everything from like our hotel renovation, replacing failing windows and doors. All of that stuff is helping to sort of bring down our energy use. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely making those improvements where we can, everywhere we can. I mean, it's really a win-win. It's sustainability. It's that all of these things get at the two-part sustainability of our mission and of our core principles, because it's better for the environment, and we use less energy. It costs us less money too. So it's the win-win for us that we see, as a business, and as a business that relies on the environment and on the health of the environment. So
yeah, I mean, that's the struggle with any semi-successful business these days, is just balancing the viability of the business model versus your impact on the environment and your sustainability and longevity. I think that's something everyone's butting up against, regardless of the industry you're in. So, it's a struggle for sure. And being in the outdoor recreation industry, it benefits us that much more to have a sustainable business model, because we want to continue to be successful and have a product to provide to everybody in the future.
So, it's when we think about the environment and its impact on our business, it's our energy use, it's what we can do to reduce our energy use, it's the costs that we can save sort of while we reduce those energy use. And it's also diversifying our business model so that, we're prepared to manage the inevitable fluctuations in, winter weather that we're already seeing.
As we started to re-examine what we wanted Bolton Valley to be and to become, we decided that we really needed to play to our strengths. We have an amazing resource here in the valley. It's beautiful terrain, and there's a ton of it, and we're high up, relatively speaking, for the area. And so, just like Lindsay was saying, as far as diversifying the products that we offer by moving into mountain biking in the summer, for example, we assessed what we have here and what we have to work with, and how can we use what we have to make an even better product and to draw people up here to experience this place that we love. So the Backcountry was at the top of that list. We have so much terrain that we have great access to, and it didn't take any more effort so much or more resources to explore that and to get there and bring people there. Here it is, it's there. We just have to show it to people. Mm-hmm. And there's so much of it. There's not even any fear of it really becoming saturated. I mean, you can go and go and go back there. And, here's this endless resource. It's not that was underutilized. It was underappreciated. And, so we just thought, how do we get people back there? And so we've just been working on providing the tools and the means to do that, which is guides and equipment. And that's it, that and parking. It's really about all we have to do. And it's beautiful and it's working and people love it. We've had guests come up to take backcountry tours and to take our intro clinics that had backcountry skied before, coming from alpine skiing or riding background, that had never been to Bolton before, but Googled, backcountry instruction in Vermont and made an appointment and showed up and took a guided tour. And now, they come up, once a month or more. And we feel that not only is that good for us in that we're expanding our offerings here at the mountain, but also we're exposing a whole new group of people to something that they hadn't really explored before. It's creating this connection between them and us and our environment and our region that wasn't there before. And we figure, as far as environmentalism goes and sustainability, that connection, just creates a level of stewardship with more people that wasn't there before. The backcountry skiing and riding market was growing already, and it has been growing for the past decade. I think it's actually one of the fastest growing segments of the ski industry. And so it was a little bit of a reach to start a program based around it. Traditional ski area management models don't really have space for that at all. Our father, for example, was like, backcountry skiers, what? They're going to bring their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They're not going to buy anything. They're just going to go out and ski for free all day. But as it turns out, there is actually a market there, and there people want to be shown how to do it. The barrier to entry for backcountry skiing and riding is tough to get past because people don't know where to go. They don't necessarily know people that can show them or will take them there, and they don't have the equipment. They don't know how the equipment works, and these are all products that we can offer and show people how to use, and people really appreciate it, and it really seemed to click. And when we looked into it initially, there was uphill skiing that was just kind of starting at some of the resorts. When we first spoke with DinaFit about starting a demo center here with them, that same year, Aspen had just bought a fleet of rental gear from them as a push to really open up their uphill skiing. But it's on piste, and it's about just sort of uphill skiing on the groomer and experiencing that sort of physical workout kind of aspect of it. But the backcountry aspect was a whole different story, and there was no real comparative program out there. And so, we were just kind of feeling our way through it. There are certainly private guiding companies around, but that's sort of a different ball game. We were trying to do something where you can, rent equipment like you can at the Alpine rental shop and sign up for, like a ski lesson that you can sign up for a backcountry tour. So, we had a couple people show up that first year, and they're like, this is the only place where I can put my kids in ski school, and, they can take a ski lesson, and then there's daycare, and I can go out for a day tour, a guided tour in the backcountry, and all in one place, without having to drive anywhere. which maybe is another nod to an environmental benefit of it all too, is that all that stuff is within walking distance and everybody can be doing their own thing. And it just rounds out that experience even more for the consumer out here.
And I feel like too, when we're thinking about like why it makes sense for Bolton, part of it is, I see it as like, it's a resource that's there. I mean, we're uniquely positioned in that, we can access all of this terrain, all this backcountry terrain, including the 1,200 inbounds terrain. Our Nordic Center is actually it's really a backcountry center. I mean, we've got, a small part of it is groomed for Nordic, but it's really, it's a pretty wild Nordic center. And so, we really had this sort of terrain here and the out of bounds terrain as well, access to it all right from here that maybe other places don't have in the same way. So that's a part of it. And Adam, I think the thing that you forgot to mention is your own background. I mean, also not everybody has somebody on their team who has the experience that you have, touring all over the world and guiding clients, in a private capacity in the past and teaching these, teaching clinics. And so I think, that's like the human resource part of it. That's really unique to us as well. And for us as a family coming here, like Adam's saying, it's a little bit selfish, it's what he wanted to do, but that's kind of the fun of getting to own a ski area, is getting to do the things that you love and, trusting that if you love it, other people are going to love it too. But also, we're small enough where like these smaller streams of income, that's meaningful to us in a way that it's not necessarily meaningful to a bigger ski area, where it's just a drop in the bucket. And we're nimble, we're flexible, we're little, we're happy to, break even on something for a long time if it makes us happy to do it, and if it makes the people around us happy, and if it's true to our core. I mean, we love to be in the backcountry, and it's one of the best things about living here, and one of the best things about getting back involved in Bolton Valley. So, if it can pay for itself, that's kind of like, we're happy with that. It's, this is us living here and stewarding this land as owners and operating this business, is a lifestyle choice more than anything else. So we're lucky to be able to make those kinds of decisions.
And, I think it's worth noting too, I think having the right scope of a business these days is part of the sustainable business model as well. We're not selling a product that that people are ordering globally, that we're packaging and shipping out to millions and millions of people. We're a regional recreational center. And if we can survive doing that, if we can support ourselves and our community and give back as much as we can to the community that we're in, great. We're not looking to be the next Bill Gates here in this business. That is not the case. We're looking to be a part of this community, provide for our kids and our families, and benefit the region that we're in. And if we can pull that off, great.